Although Steamboat Willie, the first cartoon of Mickey Mouse, went into the public domain in the United States, the copyright seems to still hold in other places globally. That makes the question be, what can be shown, where can it be shown, and who can make stuff, as, well, Canada may continue the copyright for Steamboat Willie. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. Happy to have each and every one of you here with us as we dive into a very complicated matter. And that is that many out there thought that Steamboat Willie and Mickey Mouse were flat out in the public domain. Turns out that may not be the case. We're getting information behind the scenes now that Canada may actually uphold the copyright on Mickey Mouse going forward. And that's why this article out of Global News, it really, I think, shows that there's a major problem on the horizon. This was by Alex Cook all the way back from January 5th. Canadian director reimagines Mickey Mouse in violent slasher film. Why not? Well, the reason why not might be that we're hearing that Canada upholds the copyright. And if that's the case, all of these things that are being shown on YouTube now that are part of the public domain, allegedly, well, they may not be permitted in Canada. They may only be public domain in the United States. So then, can you watch it in Canada? Can you create it in Canada? Or is it only free in the United States now? We don't know. But the article says you might know him as Disney's most iconic figure, but a Canadian horror director has other ideas. And then that draws in the question, is this person, if Canada holds the copyright, is this person free to do this if they do it in the United States where it's public domain? Or because they're Canadian, do they lack the right to do so? We don't know. So complicated, folks. We want to bring in a panel right now. This broke just not very long ago. We were given a tip that Canada seems to actually be upholding the copyright. Don't know if that's 100% true, but it's looking that way. The news is not yet reporting on it heavily. We'll get you articles as that happens. But let's bring on the panel right now to talk about the legalities of all of this. It's fascinating stuff. Well, if you were Disney and if you wanted to engender goodwill and keep the folks coming back to you, not only would you announce something like this new movie, and not only would you try to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, which, by the way, is not happening, and maybe later on in the video we'll talk about that with Chris and Andre, but you might also consider treating the folks out there well. That also does not seem to be happening. Let's talk about this real quick. Yes, folks, you've got your Steamboat Willie emojis out there. Feel free to fill the chat with the rat during this story because Disney apparently doesn't like it when you do. Disney's Steamboat Willie YouTube copyright claim is back, this time for audio. The public domain saga continues. This by Elena Cavender, and it's out of Mashable.com. So Steamboat Willie, which is now in the public domain, we've covered this in the past on the channel. Despite the fact that it's in the public domain, Disney seems to still, and YouTube and the algorithms seem to still not want you to use this. And, you know, pain comes to one who uses the mouse. Disney has once again demonetized a third-party Steamboat Willie video after previously remonetizing it and dropping its copyright claim against it, this time taking issue with the video's audio. On Thursday, Mashable reported that Disney struck voice actor and YouTuber Brock Baker, the man of 1,000 or million voices, with a copyright claim quickly after he posted a Steamboat Willie video, despite the cartoon entering the public domain at the beginning of the year. Due to the copyright claim, Baker couldn't make money off the video, which was also banned from third-party embeds and altogether in some countries 24 hours later, which 24 hours later, the video is, it's done what it's going to do, right? For the most part. Most of these YouTube videos, when they hit, if the algorithm doesn't see it take off, that's it. And so, not only, I would say, did they take this down for 24 hours, they wiped out the ability for Brock Baker to monetize this, and who knows? The man has over 1 million subscribers. There's no telling how much money he could have made off of this. There's no telling how much time he spent working on it. 24 hours later, Disney retracted its copyright claim, and Baker's video was remonetized. Now Baker's been hit with a different copyright claim, this time concerning the video's audio, which is owned by UMG, the corporation that owns Disney's music globally. And there's the strike against him, copyright claim. The video titled Steamboat Willie features the entirety of the 1928 Disney animated short Steamboat Willie. Baker dubbed the 8-minute cartoon with his own voiceover. Guys, and especially Ron on this question, is there an opportunity here for legal action from this YouTuber who has lost a significant opportunity for monetization?
Can I ask just one question real quick, which I think is
Please.
pertinent? Most of these early Disney shorts, the music in them weren't original Disney compilations. Instead, the music that they tended to fill their early shorts with were popular folk tunes that everyone sang and that were popular in the concurrent era, so everyone could chant along because they already knew the melody. Now, I don't know specifically, Steamboat Willie, the music in that one, was that composed by Disney for that short? Or
Yes.
was that so that was okay, original composition? So that was
it was public domain works that were adapted in order to do Steamboat Willie. The synchronization of the two things would have required adapting and arranging the music together. So a new arrangement for Steamboat Willie.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, because for so many things, like for instance, they frequently use like on the streets of Cairo. It's like a public domain thing, which was very commonly used in Disney shorts.
Ron, what do you think about legal action? And is there any pushback that can happen, or is Disney just able to repeatedly do this to content creators? And can they also tie people up with fallacious and I don't want to say fraudulent, but just inundating people with litigation?
That's a lot of questions. That's what we
I
call
try.
a compound question. So I would need to know more about the nature of maybe, and maybe Chris, was it you who weighed in on this? One of you fellows, I did a quick search trying to understand the nature of how it is that Disney is claiming that the audio is protected by a separate copyright. I don't know enough about the work. It is so it's impossible for me to say whether or not action by one or the other or both is possible, or whether this is a straightforward. I mean, if all they did was clean up the original audio by,
there are scrubbing softwares that can do that. Yeah,
right. That is not a new work. In fact, I wrote one of my first blog posts on my old Likelihood of Confusion blog was about a website called I think it was called Planet 9, which uploaded scans of like cool pop culture movie posters and stuff like that, and they tried to take the position that we scanned these things, made ultra high resolution scans, and we cleaned them up, and we're claiming copyright and all this. And no, that clean, like basically retouching photographs and scrubbing audio and putting out a new high quality or high res or even a remixed version that is essentially just the same thing but better. That's probably not going to be found to be a new work. So
Ron, let me key on that. Please. So my understanding was that you could take the Steamboat Willie character and insert it into a new work because Steamboat Willie itself is public domain. Is that untrue?
It may be untrue because Steamboat, what the copyright expired on is the specific work of the Steamboat Willie cartoon, of that, not of the character. Literary characters themselves. First of all, we have a complicating issue here because Steamboat Willie is Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse.
That's a great question.
Okay.
And where's the line between that
right.
character and Mickey Mouse?
So another blog post that I wrote involved the successful effort to prevent someone who was offering to customize your car into a Batmobile. Not Disney, it was Universal, right? Who was it? Well, who owns the Bat? You guys know this stuff better than I do.
Warner Brothers.
Is it Michael Uslan?
Barris.
It would probably be Warner Brothers, right?
We've given three answers. I'm sure all are right somehow.
You know what's funny is that Adam West Batman Batmobile might actually be owned by Fox.
So they were able to shut him down, and I spoke at great length with the lawyer for the defendant there. He said the Batmobile is something different in every Batman movie. How can they claim rights in a particular version of the Batmobile when it really seems to be kind of like Air Force One? Whatever the president is flying in is Air Force One. Whatever Batman's driving in is the Batmobile, right? But it's the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit knows, who runs things in California, and said no. our main job is protecting intellectual property. So the complicating factor of whether, that's one complicating factor. Is Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie? I think we all agree that he is. That's bad for a defendant here, because the character of Mickey Mouse and Steamboat Willie also will always be a trademark of Disney. And trademarks live forever. Unlike copyrights that eventually lapse, as long as a trademark is still being used, it's still associated with the brand. So the specific claim here of doing a synchronization infringement, that's very interesting. The audio copyright as a separate work is interesting to me, and I don't know enough about it, and I'd like a chance to look at it. Maybe we'll talk about it in more detail after I do that. But in terms of being able to just run with the mouse in your own artistic works, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be problematic. And the answer to your last question, the last component of your compound,
right. Can Disney tie people up?
Yeah, absolutely, it can. On the other hand, what Disney is going to do, and being Disney, I can't imagine that they will be able to stop themselves doing it. But what Disney's going to do is something that's going to probably result in a sort of Streisand effect. You're going to see the mouse, just like we did it, just like we saw in the chat about 2 minutes ago. Everyone's going to use it everywhere. They're going to press so hard and be so obnoxious and be so overbearing that I think there's going to be a sort of popular revolution, which is going to actually degrade the quality of their mark, even though the courts will not recognize any effect from it. But from a commercial point of view, they will probably overplay their hands and make a lot of my colleagues, and maybe even me, if a defendant picks up the phone, that much more wealthy.
That's a Jonas, final thought on this, because due to a scheduling issue, we're going to move rather quickly. Jonas, your final thought on that.
One thing I need to defend. Yes, I see you, Chad. I know that DC is owned by Warner Brothers, but if you go check on who made the Adam West Batman, I think you'll firmly see that it was made by 20th Century Fox.
And folks, that is a wrap for today. We hope you enjoyed. We hope it enlightened you. A little bit of education happening here on the Pro Channel, as we so often do. Class was in session, but tuition is free. All right, folks, something else that's free, if you would not mind, drop a like down before you go, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below while you're going out, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.